This is Anne Butler, the Book Griffin. Welcome to the podcast. I'm continuing the theme of characters that we love, even though, on paper, we shouldn't. In the early 2000s, Lisa Kleypas wrote a series of historical romances set in the mid-1800s. I'm referring to her Wallflower stories. Now, there are some spoilers coming, so if you haven't read the Wallflower series yet, or you're just starting, look away now. This author is one of my favourite historical romance writers. I have several of her novels, and I've reread them all several times. In the second of her Wallflower series, It Happened One Autumn, she introduced a rogue of a character called St Vincent. He's the friend of Marcus, the hero of It Happened One Autumn. St Vincent is described as beautiful, but we know as we continue to read the novel that he shouldn't be trusted. Now, Marcus is courting a woman who his mother thinks is totally unsuitable. When she finds out that St Vincent is down on his luck, she pays him to kidnap this woman, her name is Lillian, and ruin her for Marcus. Luckily for Lillian, Marcus intercepts them before St Vincent can do his worst, and then Marcus beats the hell out of him. Marcus and Lillian gallop away to their happily ever after, but that's not the end of St Vincent. He gets his own story in the third Wallflower novel, which is called Devil in Winter. Devil in Winter appeals to so many of the tropes that I love. The quiet but strong female character with understated beauty, the one that everyone overlooks, and the rascal who hides his heart of gold under meters of cynicism and aloofness. The female character in Devil in Winter, Evangeline, one of the wallflowers of the subtitle, is in danger from her scheming relatives. She lives with her extended family and they're not very fond of her. They're only interested in her money. You see, Evangeline is an heiress and she's due to inherit another fortune when her sickly father dies. Her family intend to do away with her once she inherits. She needs to escape. And the only way, in this day and age, is through marriage. And the marriage has to be to a powerful person. She makes a desperate decision to use St Vincent. Okay, I can hear you in the back there. Just suspend your disbelief and go with it. We're in the land of romantic tropes, remember? So, she decides to use St Vincent, who needs a lot of money to keep hold of his estate, which is failing. Evie goes to see him just days after he tried to get Lillian to Gretna Green to force her to marry him. Evie finds St Vincent still black and blue from the beating that Marcus gave him. She propositions him, scared but resolute. She tells him that she would rather be miserable with him than dead at the hands of her family. St Vincent is not going to look a gift horse in the mouth, and besides, he's now thinking, wow, where did this version of Evie come from? And when did she become such a looker? Anyway, he bites her hand off, accepting her offer. He hustles her into his coach and away they flee. It takes them days to reach Gretna. Evie struggles on the journey because even though she's quite mentally resolute, she's not very strong and the journey is very hard on her. And this is when Lisa Kleypas peels back one of the layers of St Vincent's character. She reveals to us the St Vincent who takes care of Evie at each coach stop that they have to make. And when they eventually get married, he is, shall we say, very kind to her on their wedding night. When Evie's enemies come for her, choosing to disregard the protection her marriage should have given her, we see the street fighter St Vincent, the one who is not going to let anyone harm the woman, who saw and treated him as something other than just a handsome wastrel. He makes a tremendous sacrifice to save Evie, and this was one of my favourite parts of the book. When we get to this point, by now I'd forgotten all about the dark version of him who had kidnapped Lillian. Evie starts to see St Vincent, the kind of St Vincent, the type of character that he hides from others. She starts to realise that the whole thing around kidnapping Lillian and what he'd intended to do to Lillian was just all bluster. She realises that he'd had no intention of harming her. He had just wanted to marry her to get her money. As she starts to find out these different parts of him and starts to love him, I was way ahead of her. For all the things he did to keep Evie safe, the way he helped her friends, a disparate group of people, for making sure she got to spend time with her father in his last days, trusting her so totally when her life was in his hands, these are all the reasons why I couldn't help but love Sebastian, Lord St Vincent. The Devil in Winter was published in 2006. If you've never read a Lisa Kleypas novel, I would recommend starting with this series. As I said at the start, I've read several of her novels, including some from the Wallflower series. My favourites of this series are Secrets of a Summer Night, which is Wallflower 1, Devil in Winter featuring St Vincent, which is Wallflower 3. But my ultimate favourite didn't contain any rogues, so I probably won't do a podcast about him, but my favourite is Scandal in Spring, Wallflower 4. This has been Anne Butler, the Book Griffin. If you enjoyed this podcast, please follow to receive notification when there are new episodes available. You can also follow me on Instagram by going to Instagram, searching for The Book Griffin and hitting follow.